Arsenal win at the Bernabéu. Arsenal are through the semifinals of the Champions League. Arsenal are going to Paris to face PSG. Welcome back to FFB, amigos. And today we have to talk about this game. I promised a return leg. Real Madrid lose at home to an Arsenal that completely overpowered them and surprisingly did a spanking in the first leg and amazing game management on the return leg. Let's get into it. They actually started really well. I'm going to put up some of the stats, but actually, Arsenal started really well the game, had some control, and some early mistakes from Real Madrid. Alaba getting early yellow card against Bukayo Saka. That's a terrible idea. However, they sort of controlled him a little bit. And then some craziness happened that I think is going to bring up some conversations about VAR and about penalties. As always with Madrid, as always in the Champions League, for us that watch the Premier League, sometimes it feels, well, not sometimes, often, we see that the rules are slightly different or interpreted different. It was a very, very soft penalty. Please tell me in the comments because I'm really curious who saw that as a penalty. I believe it was not a penalty. If we make a decision in football that those are going to be penalties, then so be it. But it's very hard to say if I grab you by the shirt, that's a penalty, yes or no. It can't be like when you're on a spectrum of degree of how much you can completely hold a player, because supposedly you can't hold. But in every corner we hold, right? They hold and they let go. Was it time, force? Those are very subjective, difficult things to measure. And then certainly holding shirts. So I don't know where we stand. I just know that that wouldn't have been a penalty, or it was a very soft penalty in any case. And Asensio gets a yellow card for it, which I think was a pretty harsh call. Like again, we see that every day. Arsenal miss it. Bukayo Saka under the pressure misses that penalty. Young guy. I get when he comes up to take that penalty. I'm thinking when he misses that penalty for England, that he should have never taken, being a young player at that stage, and he misses it. And to be honest, what a schmuck! What a schmuckerino! You do not take a penalty like that, being that kind of a young player in that stage of the Champions League. He tried to chip it, and not only does he chip it, but okay, fine, you're going to do that. Don't chip it to the side. Look, I know nothing about football and goalkeeping, but everybody knows the basics that a soft taken shot to the sides at mid level is like the easiest penalty for a keeper to save. And if you chip it to one of the best goalkeepers in the world, come on, man, at least do it in the middle of the goal and high, right? So you know that he doesn't have time to recover if he dives. But there's a 50-50 chance he's going to save, literally 50-50 chance, a soft chip shot to the side. That's just ridiculous. And even where he was looking at the ball he was looking at the ball when he was taking it, not even looking at the keeper. He could have seen the dive. So it's pretty weird way of taking the penalty. In any case, immediately after, we see Real Madrid denied a penalty for a VAR. Now, I was watching this with Mark Goldbridge. Again, huge shout out to him. He's one of those creators that I respect really a lot, very, very much. And he was kind enough to give me a shout out during the live. He said something about my hair's not up because of that. If you're watching, Mark, my hair's up because it's a mess. This hair's not going anywhere. And he was kind enough to give me a shout out. And in his channel, his interpretation, I think most people felt like if one's a penalty, the other one's a penalty. And I think that's a slippery slope about how to interpret these rules, right? Either we're going to say that any grab or a pull or a hold is a penalty, or we're going to be very generous in the first one shouldn't be, right? Either what happens in every game sort of stays. So it's really tricky. Madrid, I think Mbappe knew what he was doing. He made the most of it. Long story short, they don't get a penalty. They're denied by the VAR. And Madrid is doing something that I saw. I'm always going to talk about Chelsea, some crazy stuff. Throwing in a lot of crosses to a team that is really good in the air, Saliba, which is great in the air. It's just a good team defending, both attacking and defending on set pieces and in crosses. So I don't know what the hell's going on. I think desperation's coming in early. Patterns of play are not really there. But I'm thinking with set pieces, if my thought at that point was if this referee is gonna be so aggressive in giving these penalties, maybe putting in the cross and some holding and on set pieces they have a chance. But that changed a little bit. The match got boring in sort of the first half, and with the time ticking, as the time was ticking, something interesting has happened because every minute that goes by Arsenal, it's their game. That's a proper management game for them. They're managing their minutes properly, so it works for them. But all of us football fans, even until the 87th minute, we're like Madrid could score four. We have that fear beaten into us, but I never saw anything that showed that that can happen. And let's see, in the second half, Bukayo Saka scores a beautiful goal. He does a beautiful run in behind. If you guys see, that's the beauty, I mean, of a right winger that has a goal in him, right? To know how to do the runs, because he resets his run like three times. First, he's wide, then he's in the inside channel, and then he resets and he runs in behind the right center back for a beautiful run and puts it 1-0. And even then it doesn't feel like it's over against Madrid, but the way Arsenal played that game and the fact that they're just a better team. I mean as a team, which is interesting because PSG are good as a team rather than the collection of their players. Arsenal are a great team. Inter are a great team. So some of these teams that have the stars and the great goal scorers haven't done this that well this year versus the ones that are playing better tactically, organized as teams. So that goal goes in, and admirable that young man. That guy has a lot of future. Great player and a beautiful finish. Just chips it nicely. Business done very confidently after missing that penalty. So that's big for a young player. Also, it's only like just a few seconds later that Vinicius Jr. Saliba, which is one of the best center backs in the world, to be honest, they make a mistake playing out the back. They get punished, and you see that. Come on, come on! You're thinking maybe the goals are coming, but they didn't. And looking at some of the stats, um, Real Madrid had 67% of possession and didn't do much with it. To be honest, they weren't very incisive. Mbappe had to go out. I heard that he was dealing a little bit with an injury, but again, I think tactically, it's a problem to have him in the team. Look, if he wants to come to Chelsea, I'll take him. Anybody will take Mbappe any day of the week. But sometimes the setup can get a little bit hurt when you bring the wrong kind of player, especially if you don't get your right back and maybe even a full back, and in their case, a DM, and they're missing some players, and they're trying to accommodate the team, which happens a lot when you bring in the stars. But they had Arsenal, great job. I hate to say these things. You guys know I'm a Chelsea fan, but once the miracle happened, and it happened because of Declan Rice, which had an amazing game again today, Odegaard went missing to me in both matches. And that is actually an amazing thing. The fact that Odegaard went missing, and I felt he would go missing against Real Madrid. He'll be a little bit intimidated. And he was gone in both legs, if you ask me, most of the match. But it didn't matter. That's how well they're doing as a team. With 33% possession, they managed to get 6 shots on target versus 3 in Madrid. Take 11 shots generally with only 33%. That's pure game management. Even their pass accuracy was a lot lower than Madrid. Um, and that's scary. That's a scary proposition. I really do not want Arsenal to win this. I was going for Bayern Munich because, look, I'm called to hate Spurs because I'm a Chelsea fan. But please, Harry Kane. Somebody give Harry Kane some silverware. Maybe you guys in the comment, we can do like a GoFundMe, and let's have him let's have a special cup for him made for the most amazing dude that doesn't win anything and has a weird brain voice. And just give him a cup, man, because it's pretty sad at this stage. Let's hope he at least gets the Bundesliga now that he's out. But in any case, I really don't want them to win it. I don't know who I'm going to go for now. Those of you that are not fans of the remaining teams, please tell me in the comments who you want to win this Champions League and why once your team is out. And we like football. We're still going to watch. I'm making these videos. I'm a Chelsea fan, and it's sadly my team is not in the Champions League and it doesn't look like it's going to be. I get to watch these, and you want to have a stake in it, right? So you might have to just put a bet with some friends or something to get the passion up. But I really wanted them to be the winner. I don't know who I'm going to go for now. Certainly not Arsenal. So I have to figure out. Maybe Serie A to win is good for football and to spread the love. And I'm glad Manchester City and Real Madrid are not in there. In any case, towards the end of the game, there's some pressure. But what I find very admirable is that the clear chance to win are more coming to Arsenal. And again, that's what champions are made of. And I think having the ability to defend, which is something that Arteta and Arsenal have worked in, and having that physical player profile has been very useful. Imagine if they actually had a number 9, what that would look like, because everybody knows they're not going to win the Premier League, which they should have. And that's just, they just bottled it this year. But maybe they get away with the Champions League. Let's see what happens. Another thing that happened in the match that I really love as a Chelsea fan, we still love Rüdiger. Rüdiger, I think he's a shithouser that everybody would want on their team. And he came in and broke up a couple people. He was messing with Marino, man. He put a knee to his thigh, which I know is really painful, and put him out early in the first half, and actually in the first half and in the second half. I think this might even be looked at by people, by the authorities, because in a high ball, he straight up closes his eyes, like you see his face. You know, in his face, he knows what he's gonna do. And he headbutts him in the back of the neck. I don't know if you guys saw that, in the back of his head. I'm surprised nothing came of that, to be honest. That was just dirty. And that's not great for football necessarily, some of those dark arts, but you'd want him as your center back in your team. And he's offensive and he's aggressive and he's organizing the team and he has a lot of leadership qualities. Wouldn't that be beautiful in Chelsea for us to have right now? And I'm sure many other teams. And then when they lose that second goal on the counter, it was sad to see because Modric, I think he was called to make that. If you see that run, he should have ran all the way back to the box. And I know he could have tried a little bit better. I know he's old, but he's not that old. And by then it's over really. So like I mentioned, with Cross gone, Valverde playing out of place, Camavinga getting the most stupid, the little yellow card, and getting kicked out of the game, cost them. And I think they're going to be back, and they will rebuild. And I wish Arsenal struggle at Paris. Sorry, sorry, sorry. Um, I think it's. I would love to see this PSG win over the PSG of before, where there's a prize for picking a profile and building a good team rather than the ones that just bring in the superstars in the Galactico model win. So I'd rather that than the PSG of old win if it has to be them, as long as it's not Arsenal again. Inter, because that would be good vibes. And yeah, I think that's one of those two for me, to be honest with you. But tell me who you want to win. Please like, subscribe so we can continue to make great videos for you. And thank you for watching this video. More to come. We're going to have the preview for the next Chelsea match as always, as well as reactions. And I look forward to doing the videos of the upcoming exciting semifinals. And as always, see you next time.